Mike Giardi, Boston Sports Journal, joining the show here. Mike, how are we doing today?
Still as good as the first time.
It really is. It gets better each time we play it. By the way, I was watching a little show on Netflix, a little documentary on Netflix. About the comeback, the Red Sox comeback, and who do I see standing out there holding the microphone for NECN, I think it was, reporting on the Red Sox. But strapping young Mike Giardi, who was prominently featured in that documentary. So nice work there, Mike. And now you're on this show. So really, I mean, you're everywhere.
I mean, my upward trajectory is just off the charts. Obviously, 20 years ago, that was at like 2:30 in the morning. So that's like way past my bedtime. But I did have black hair then. And now I have very little black hair. A lot of gray.
Well, speak for all of us there.
You want me to take my usual shot at you when we talk about the Neckin days?
Yeah.
Was Chris Collins not available? How come you were there?
Yeah, well, I was this weekend. I was this weekend guy.
And his luggage guy, from what I remember.
That's not true.
Was that too much? Did I cross the line
too far? Yeah, there you go.
As usual, yeah, you did.
Mike, it's been a very, very tough week for Gerard Mayo, for Alex Van Pelt. Who do you think got it worse this week, and who do you think's job is more in jeopardy today?
Well, Alex got it worse because now, like, the media conglomerate is seizing on to the fact that he needs to be replaced, overlooking the fact that the head coach is not improved the team in the least bit. In fact, he's probably gotten worse as the year's gone along, and the defensive coordinator has been equally as inept. So it's funny how that works, but this is what happens, I think, and I've talked about this quite a bit, I think, in the last week, where I don't think people necessarily know what they're looking at when they're watching the games, and that's not to be like football nerd, but like, nobody knows what they're looking at when it comes to defense. You couldn't tell me what an inverted cover two, like most people just don't know that. But when they look at offense, they can say, well, they should have thrown it, or they should have run it, or why didn't they run it outside when they ran it inside? Or, I think it's just easier to do that. And I think we saw ownership doing that from the shot on TV. And I think there's a lot of people piling on that as well. Like the one part of the team that's actually improved here over the last 2 months has been the offense. And granted, Drake Maye's a big reason for that, but to like sort of just say that Alex Van Pelt has nothing to do with it would be unfair. But he's getting kills.
Something that came into my head in our first segment, we were debating, Mike Vrabel, Gerard Mayo, Alex Van Pelt, everything. Is there any scenario you think where Gerard Mayo could be out and Alex Van Pelt could stay?
No.
Oh,
no. I don't.
Quick.
Well, I think it's been, I've actually been talking about this for a while, and you and I have texted. I think he's been gone for 2 months.
Yeah,
like,
but
I legit think
what about his relationship with the quarterback?
That was going to save him.
What about the relationship with the quarterback?
Yeah,
the quarterback loves him, and you have a young quarterback. That's the most important thing in the organization.
It should matter, but I just don't think it's gonna. I would be surprised if there's a change of heart, but I really feel like the die has already been cast.
Well, if that's the case, these last 3 weeks, are they meaningless? I mean, is there anything that can be done? How do you see these 3 weeks going, first of all? And if they are as bad as everyone thinks they're going to be, is this it?
Well, I don't think they're meaningless for Gerard because while I still think that he is likely to return, whatever the number is, 85% that I've sort of continued to stay at, like, again, if they go and throw up on their shoes like they did this past weekend, 3 more weeks, and maybe they get, just absolutely croaked by Buffalo, and then turn around and have the Chargers at home in a standalone game, which I don't think too many people are all that psyched about in Foxborough. I think they wanted to kind of slide the rest of the season under the radar, and now, nope, if you want to watch pro football, that's the game. So I don't know, like, can he continue to step in it, not only at the microphone, but also with the way his team looks at how they prepare, what have you? That's where, like, you can't close the door completely on it. But like I said, I'm still leaning in the direction of, he's coming back.
What was your reaction to Jonathan's FaceTime, the note-taking? Is it normal? I mean, is it expected at this point in a bad season that they're really formulating things and like, okay, we fixate too much on he's taking notes? Or are they trending toward meddlesome?
So I was told that he was taking notes and it had nothing to do with football. Now, I'm just telling you what I was told. I'm not telling you I believe what I was told, but that's what I was told. Yeah. So look, you get pushback when you say meddlesome. Like it's their team; they're allowed to ask questions. And here's where I sort of like, what are the questions that are being asked? Like, is it, can you explain why you did this? And if Gerard can clearly tell them why he did what he did, okay. But like, if they start questioning why he did something, and then, well, like to the point about play calling, like, well, how come you didn't overrule this, or why didn't Alex call that? Like, I'm sorry, but there's not one owner in the National Football League, not even Jerry Jones, who played college football, and I'm talking the real owners, not like the 2% owners like Tom Brady, who played the game and know what they're talking about. They're fans, and they're rich fans, and they have plenty of influence and power, but that doesn't mean you know what you're looking at or talking about. So I don't know. I guess that's the fine line. Where are the questions going?
We're talking with Mike Giardi of the Boston Sports Journal. Mike, how big of a problem do you think Jerod Mayo's messaging has been this year, and is it something that you think he can clean up in the offseason? I mean, we've seen this 15 weeks. It doesn't seem like it's improved much.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you would think after stepping in it pretty much weekly that at some point, and remember, he did sort of start to do the Belichick on Wednesdays where, right. He goes on a 3-minute diatribe about the other team, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, et cetera, which, fills the time. Now you only got 5 more minutes that you have to avoid stepping in it, and yet he's still stepped in it. So that's concerning. Like, it's not I wouldn't say it's a massive deal, because whatever, people don't care about us. The media, they said whatever, you're going to twist it however you want. But like, okay, is that how he is in front of the room though, for the guys that matter? And this past weekend was a perfect example. You're coming off a bye. I can't quite explain how gross I thought that performance was. And when you're coming off a bye and it looks like you weren't prepared at all on either side, that speaks volumes about the head coach and, whether or not you want to believe the message is getting across. Like, this game Sunday, like, again, one of the few games on at that 4:25 time, you better unload it. You better show me something here. Or, again, you're just digging a deeper hole.
So to summarize, you still think Jerod Mayo will be back, and you think Alex Van Pelt will be gone. So who will be coordinating the Patriots offense next year, calling plays and molding Drake May?
Well, that's a great question, because obviously if they were to move on from the don't get, I meant that just as a transition. Better than the transition of yours and my nice little open there. The easy thing would be, or not the easy thing, but if they blew everybody out, Vrabel, Josh McDaniels coordinating your offense.
Yep.
And we know that Josh is probably unlikely to get a head coaching job ever again, at least in the National Football League. So you don't have to worry about look what he did for Drake May, and now he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't appear to be the case. He's still local. He's still collecting a massive check from the Raiders, by the way, which also, as we know, the Crafts do like to balance their budget that way.
Yep.
We don't have to pay him that much because he's getting paid somewhere else. So, like, that would be the easy fix. Now, if that's not the case, and I don't believe it's going to be the case, then where do you go? I don't know that you could convince Josh to come back and coach under Gerard, because, look, there is still stuff in the water from his last year with Belichick and with Bill O'Brien, and all those guys talk. And like, I don't know. That's almost like going against the family. I don't know that he would go against the family for that kind of job. Plus, what's Gerard's lifespan in the gig? If they go 1-5, 1-6 to start the season, is he already on his way out? And then what? Josh is the interim, but then you're blowing everybody out again at the end of the year. I don't know. So then you're not going to get the best and the brightest. Maybe you circle back to like a Nick Haley and offer him more money. Maybe there's someone whose name I'm not thinking about. But the job, finding a job of an offensive coordinator is going to be a little bit harder this time around, just based on how the season has gone and what your coach's lifespan is in the job.
That is the voice of Mike Giardi. You can read his stuff over at Boston Sports Journal. Mike, thanks so much for the time today. Happy holidays, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Christian, always a pleasure to talk to you. Sorry you have to spend the holidays, or at least something close to the holidays, staring at Andy's face for the last 4 hours.
Merry Christmas.
I'm sorry
to you, too.
All right, that is Mike Giardi. Thanks, Mike. Joining us here on the program.